What are your thoughts on the running back market and why it looks that way right now?
Yeah, Field, I think it has so much to do with how the game has changed over the past 20 years, and that's been towards a heavier shift towards the pass. Running backs are just not getting as many carries in total, whether it be one back, two back, three backs, and we're seeing teams move towards more rotations and more specialized roles. You would figure if anyone's going to get paid, it's that sort of bell cow workhorse back. Well, there aren't as many of those as there were 20 years ago. Go back to 2003. There were 13 backs who carried the ball 300 times or more that season. Last 10 years, last decade, an average of just under 2 backs per season carrying the ball 300 or more times, and they get an extra game the past couple of years. That's bumped up the numbers a tiny bit. So absolutely, the talent is still there, but I think the game is evolving to a point where that sort of guy we picture in our head about being a bell cow back is not really actually playing out on the field.
Yeah, Bill's right. It's a number of factors, right? It's the game changing, the committee approach you just outlined, the fact that I think teams are increasingly aware that they can get comparable production from younger players on cost controlled contracts. And this, to me, it's not like teams woke up and said, we're going to pay running backs unfairly. The NFL is a hard capped league. That money is just going elsewhere. When you look at franchise tag values over the last few years as running backs have gone down, wide receiver contracts, offensive line contracts. I think teams are more aware of the role that run blocking plays in rushing efficiency. That's where the money is going. I don't think it's a matter of fairness so much as it is reflecting how they perceive value. Now, what is unfair, and where I think running backs have a truly legitimate gripe, is the timeline and how it uniquely affects them. Think about this. The average NFL running back works for free for 3 years in college. Maybe you can make some NIL money. Then they come to the NFL where their salary can be cost controlled for as many as 5 years. We're looking at some of those scenarios right now with the franchise tag guys. And so by the time they're able to actually get a contract determined by the market, they're usually older than the age of 26, which is when, statistically, running backs tend to peak in production. To me, that's the major problem with running back salaries. It's how they're uniquely affected by the wage scale, and even before that structural problem. It's not NFL teams failing to appreciate their value once they do reach free agency.
Yeah, I remember back in April of 2020, Christian McCaffrey had an offer on the table from the Carolina Panthers about signing an extension that he went back and forth on whether or not to sign it. Well, he did go ahead and sign that $64 million deal over 3 years ago. And that still stands as the richest contract that we've seen for a running back. It was not broken in 21, 22, 23. What other position in the league would go that long, 3-4 years, without seeing somebody top a mark of a contract from over 3 years ago? That's unheard of. But that's the state of the running back position right now, to where Christian McCaffrey's contract, signed over 3 years ago, still stands as the richest running back contract in the game.
No question. It's been a stagnant market. And I think the tough part is we're seeing teams struggle to even identify which backs they should be drafting and developing. And I think the classic example here are the Kansas City Chiefs, where they went out and used a first-round pick on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He was going to be the perfect fit for that offense. He struggled, and the Chiefs brought in Isaiah Pacheco last year, one of the last picks in the draft, a 7th rounder, and he fundamentally changed that offense. A more valuable back, a more useful back, but not the back the Chiefs invested a lot in to begin with. So if you could guarantee that you were going to get some solid play from a veteran back or a first-round pick, running backs would be taken more often, but it's just hard to sort through these guys.
You know, Bill, we started this conversation with you discussing the evolution of the league. How about this? The last team to win a Super Bowl with a player that was a top 5 rusher in that season was the Patriots. As in the 2004 Patriots with Corey Dillon before Tom Brady was at the peak of his powers. It is truly amazing. All right, coming up
next. Who they got off the scrap heap, Field? Who they got off the scrap heap?
Of course, that's right. He was basically cast away from Cincinnati for a very small price relative to his prior production.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.